Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, Sila made an amazing discovery. Not only did she find that the coconuts can actually stun the bearYenas if they're sitting underneath the coconut tree when the day passes, but she also found a brand new bearYena off in the grass too, and this one just so happens to have a baby bearYena in its shadow. I feel like she probably doesn't realize that yet. It has been a very, very long time since our tribe last came across a baby bearYena after all, so this is going to be like all new territory for them. Once she does find the little baby, I'm sure she's not going to have it in her heart to send it packing. So hopefully we can take care of its mother, and then we'll have a brand new baby bearYena to raise. I am so excited. Maybe that means that we'll finally see the bearYena snout on one of our babies? I don't think we've seen that in this tribe yet. We have had a couple of bearYena hybrid babies in the past. That's how we have the bearYena claw now. But yeah, it would be super, super cool to see that weasel its way back into our genetics. As far as the rest of the tribe right now, most of them are still located right around the oasis. We're actually trying to pick off the fish with Eagle Eye and Rodukta. They've made an excellent team, and they made a bit of a discovery as well. They can actually spend their days right inside the calmest parts of the oasis. They just have to watch out for any leeches that may spawn in the meantime. But with all of that food in their pockets, these two are bonding quite well. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if maybe Eagle Eye decides to use this nest up here, the very same one that she discovered when she first set her feet down on this island. But it turns out it's being guarded by Kiroro. I'm wondering if maybe this is just where he was born. Maybe this is where his family used to be before they all moved on to different islands, and he was the only one who couldn't part with it. So I'm sure Kuroro wouldn't mind acting as the grandfather to our kids. Grandfather Kuroro. He could watch after them while their parents go fishing in the oasis. Now I wonder if it might be time for us to bring Anthem out of the water too. Should we have them have another baby now? I kind of feel like they should wait until their current babies have grown up a little bit, so we'll give them some time to get to know their sons. It's not as though they're going to be spending very much time on this island after all. As soon as Pumpkin has the energy, I know he's going to go diving after his brother. Spook just discovered the perfect little hideaway for all of their mischievous adventures. They have this cactus kind of like blocking the path, so it truly feels hidden and secluded to them. So while they're causing trouble for the rest of our tribe mates, if they ever need to escape, they have the perfect place to do so. Oh, and we can't forget about this gorgeous new deer prince that was born in the last episode. He is absolutely amazing. I love how this family is truly becoming like its own sort of thing. That's why we put the white fur into Starfruit's mutation menu, since nobody else in the family had it at the time. But it is causing a bit of a rift between the siblings, because unfortunately Foxtail just doesn't feel like she belongs. She feels like the shadow to her siblings, these gorgeous, bright, and colorful sunny babies. And then she's over here with her gloomy gray fur. She feels constantly outdone by them. She never feels like she's going to be as loved as her siblings are to the tribe. I'm sure it's just a matter of her finding her own special talents. But right now, she's still very, very young, so it probably just feels like the end of the world to her, like she's never going to get past this. So I believe we're just down to Tanzanite and Flytrap. And Flytrap, though he would love to go on more adventures on his own, he's found himself gravitating back toward his old friend Tanzanite just to make sure that he's okay. He just had to bury his father after all, so he's had some pretty hard times here. But Tanzanite seems like the type who can bounce back pretty quickly. I think there's a pretty good chance that he's back to his relatively cheerful self. Though I think it's kind of funny, too, that Flytrap is lurking in the darkness again, since that's kind of how these two met. Let's just have him clear out the grass for now, I suppose. Then maybe we could have him seek out the extra roots, just in case anybody else is going to need to be buried soon. We have one over here right next to the nest. And I think that might actually be it. We do have one over by the oasis too, right on this giant island. So I guess when it finally comes time for Anthem to pass, we could probably put him right there. That way he'll be next to his children. So let's scoot you down here for now. Maybe you could even see if you can talk to the knights a little bit more. I feel like he's really been like taken by their family. I don't know, he might even be a little bit smitten with one of their most outgoing daughters. So maybe he's trying to get on her father's good side to get his blessings. But let's see where this mother bearYena decides to go next. Oh, straight into the water. That's what I figured, Sila. You have definitely gotten her attention. But where's her little baby? Is he still there? Oh, he's underneath the coconut tree? Well, he hasn't been stunned yet, but he better watch out, because if he stays there for very much longer, he's going to end up with a coconut on his head. Well, I mean, I guess this is good for us. Good for Sila's story, at least, because she certainly wouldn't notice the baby in the shadows. Not with the mother bearYena looming directly above her. So let's have her land her final attacks. She should be able to take out this bearYena once and for all. Despite the leeches circling around the ocean. Oh no, this time it was foxtail. Well, I'm pretty sure that your father can pick that off of you. Yeah, we want to be careful. We do have quite a few piranhas lurking about this area, and we don't really have a safe way to scoop them up. So there you go, Cherry. You have now witnessed for yourself your own daughter taking down 2 bearYenas. 2 bearYenas, one right after the next. We could have her come down here to pick up the meat, and then of course she is going to finally pass that bluebird feather straight over to her daughter. We'll set them up on both sides of the royal orange gem, and that means the moment has finally come. Our 2 bluebird feathers are finally on one creature once more. So Sila, you can happily take on the rank of an alpha, and after your mother passes on this next day, you're going to have an entire tribe to lead. As well as a little baby bearYena, of course. Oh, I really hope he doesn't end up getting dazed too. The poor thing is going to be stuck underneath that coconut tree for days if he does. I'm sure that even Kirnuro would feel a little bit of sympathy toward the baby bearYena. He does have quite a bit of experience with the coconuts. I guess that's probably why the bearYena was trying to steal his coconuts in the first place. Maybe his baby has found a love for coconuts too? Can you imagine if that was a family of like vegetarian bearYenas? That would actually make me feel kind of bad, because then there wouldn't have been much of a reason for us to take them out, you know? It's not as if they would have munched on our babies. Now, Sunstone has already laid Komesi's remains to rest, but I don't feel like he's appeased just yet. He can tell that quite a few other members of the tribe are getting close to the end of their lifespans. And in fact, he'll be surprised to see that it's leading him toward his own brother. His good friend Flytrap is nearing the end of his days. I don't think that's something that Flytrap would ever really admit. Like, even though it's probably hard for him to go out exploring, he doesn't move as fast as he used to. There is no way that he would admit to anybody that he's slowing down. So I think he's going to be rather offended that Sunstone has come by to see him off properly. He's probably going to try to shoo this creature off. Like, what sort of company are you keeping, Tanzanite? Is your family really that disrespectful? I almost feel like Tanzanite is going to take Flytrap's passing a little bit harder than he took his own father's. I mean, they actually spent quite a bit more time together than their entire family did. So that's going to be a pretty hard pill for him to swallow. I guess we'll bring Tanzanite over here so we can at least be by his side. Maybe just to show him that his brother really means no harm. And it looks like the beautiful, majestic Brightheart is all grown up now too, so she can take on her final gem. Now she could go into the oasis and swim around with all of her other water-bodied creatures. She could look for the fish to pick up with her claw. But I wonder if she might be a little bit more interested in going into the ocean. Like, she knows the piranha have been terrorizing her family for quite some time, so maybe she would want to find a way to take care of them. I suppose Rokir, being the closest to her right now, would probably notice that right away. I wonder if he would be a little bit worried for her safety. Maybe he could at the very least purr for her. That way, if she does get into any trouble in these depths, she should be okay with that purring magic on her. I mean, there's always a possibility that there could be more leeches in the water, so we do have to be careful. In fact, it seems like the ocean is pretty quiet. There are many, many more fish in the oasis, so I'm not sure if you're going to find what you're looking for, Brightheart. It's a very valiant effort, though. She just doesn't want to sit around and look pretty all day, you know? She wants to actually find a way to get her hands dirty and benefit her tribe. So it looks like Pumpkin has a second gem. We can give him that little orange gem right in the middle, just like his big brother Spook. And I'm sure Spook is calling to him by now. Come on in, Pumpkin, the water's fine. Take a look at what I found out here. Yeah, they're actually going to have to, scoot their way around the cactus if they want to investigate this place. In fact, it looks like they're going to have to wait for the next turn. Now, it would be pretty easy for somebody to sneak in if they use this as a back route, but I suppose the only creature who would know about it is Kuroro himself, and he's a bit preoccupied at the moment. Oh, he's kind of like our den father, I guess, preparing the nest for all the future babies. And that means we should probably take a look at their mutation menus too, Eagle Eye and Roducta, so they can have some healthy babies together. Now we have quite a bit of the home island gene already, but it's good to see that it could pass on their babies too. And Roducta has that bird beak. They both do have the webbed hind legs and their inactive traits, and the water body as well, which would always be nice to see. I don't know, maybe we should just leave this as is? I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how it would shake itself out, so we'll leave their mutation menus untouched for now, and we'll see what happens to their babies. Sometimes a surprise can be more fun than tweaking everything yourself. Maybe it would be a good idea for Sundew to cool down a little bit too? It's not really going to benefit us much for the tribe. It's not as though she can pick up any fish in the water, but it would be nice to just give her the chance to cool down. She's been under that hot sun for so long. So let's have her jump into the water too. She's seen plenty of other creatures do this by now, so she knows she'll be safe. And she also knows that she has Anthem right by her side, so even if she starts to struggle a little bit, he should be able to pick her up right away. Now I think all we have left is a little bit of food collecting to do. Starfruit, would you be willing to leave your baby's side? We know that Heart is going to be okay because we don't have any bluebirds in our skies, but I'm sure she's still pretty nervous. It's just the food is a bit more important right now, so go ahead and grab those berries, and then you can scoot right on back to the nest. Now Foxtail, would you be willing to get your feet wet again? I know you just had that leech to deal with, but if she is trying to break free from the shadows, I guess she'd be willing to be a little bit more reckless. So before we go see Eagle Eye's baby, let's see what's going to happen to this little baby bearYena. And of course, we'll say goodbye to Cherry too, because she'll be passing away on this turn. Now, I suppose the only problem is, she did pass away in the water, and according to our tribe's lore, that meant that their souls would be stuck here on this island. They would be stuck beneath the waves. Unless our creatures can find a way to dig up some of those worms on the seafloor, that would be a good way to put their remains to rest. So I suppose that's going to be high on Sila's mind now. But the other thing that has her quite curious is this baby bearYena. So let's see if we can have her scoot on over to his side and offer up some food. Oh, it looks like we have more shells out here too. Excellent, I'm sure he's going to enjoy that. So if the coconuts don't appease this baby, the shells certainly will. So there you go, now you have a friendly bearYena on your side, and hopefully he'll be willing to follow you all the way back to your tribe mates. We don't want Sila to get stranded out here after all. It's kind of ironic that our bluebird leader is so far away from the rest of the tribe. She'll be coming back victorious, and I'm sure that anybody would be willing to follow her once they hear of her stories. Oh my goodness, but look at this little midnight baby. We were talking about shadows before. This is a shadow if I ever did see one. She is going to be one sneaky little warrior. She's just like her mother with the claw and the bearYena claw. Those big ears and the purse snout of her father. She might not be very well suited to the savannas, because I'd imagine all of that dark fur is going to make her very, very hot. But maybe it's a good sign that we're meant to turn our attentions over to the swampland soon. I'm sure as soon as Sila returns with her little baby bearYena in tow, that's what she's going to set off for next. She probably wants to carve a name for herself in the tribe's history, just like so many of her other ancestors. And there's no better way to do that than by discovering a brand new island. So I think in her mother's honor, we'll name this little baby Raveneye? Yeah, why not? Raven Eyes sounds like a pretty decent name for her. Oh, and they even have the claws in the very same locations too. Yeah, she is definitely going to take after her mother. But even now it seems Eagle Eye doesn't have very much in terms of maternal instincts, so we're going to leave that to you, Kiroro. Let's bring her back to the water so they can find some more fish together. Do you see any out here, Rodukta? We're getting into some dangerous territory here. I think all of this water is the same level, so you should be okay, but we've never swam out this far before, so you'll have to be careful. We'll have to keep Rodukta right along the side in case things do get too rough, because we already know that he's not a great swimmer. Now, how is construction on the clubhouse coming along back here? Our little Halloween clubhouse, our Halloween getaway. We'll bring Pumpkin straight up to the middle. Ooh, and you guys actually have some snacks to pick up back here. Why don't we have Spook come to the edge so he can pick it up on the next turn? Though I've got to be honest, other than the cactus blocking the entrance, this island is probably looking pretty boring to the siblings. They might have to hop over to this one too to see if it's any better, but if there's nothing interesting there for them to play with, then I guess they're officially going to turn their sights on the rest of our tribe. So you guys better watch out because you might have some mischievous little siblings on your hands pretty soon. Him is so different in comparison. He has no interest in causing trouble like that. He'd rather just dive into the water and search for some fish to gather up for his family, because I think it's about time that they finally have their next baby. We'll bring Sundew up here. Oh my gosh, even the water didn't cool her down. Oh, you poor thing. We're lucky that none of her babies have inherited her big body. All of their children have been incredibly lucky so far. You know, they'll even do us well in the swamplands too, because with those poison fangs, that means they can collect plenty of the poison berries for us, so we shouldn't have to worry about our food supplies getting too low. I don't really think that there's anything out here for Anthem to collect though. That's the one problem with having creatures here without the claws, because there are no shells for them to pick up with their nimble fingers. We'll have to stick to the algae, I suppose. Do you think maybe we could have Kuroro jump over here to grab the berries, just like Starfruit did for the other baby? Yeah, it is a bit of a dangerous scheme, but it's one that they're willing to play if it means more food in their babies' stomachs. We still have over 100 pieces, so I guess we're doing all right. Ah, there's the piranha. Yeah, let's see if we can grab this thing. Oh no, it's a bit too tricky for you? Well, I don't think she's going to give up. She's going to catch that slippery fish if it's the last thing she does. I guess we'll have Rokir watch from the surface. We'll have him try to dig up some snacks as well. Maybe he could even try to round up the piranha for her, just in case it gets a little bit too close to the shores. I'm sure his dark red fur would have the piranhas quite curious after all. Now, can Foxtail go down to this level? I'm actually not sure if she can. It looks pretty deep, but it doesn't have the swimming icon. So let's see if she'll be okay. I mean, it kind of looks like her nose is underneath the waves, I guess if she picks up her head like this. But I'm not sure if she's going to end up taking damage overnight. Yup, oh poor Foxtail. It might be because of that lean body. So she's actually going to need one of the water-breathing plants if she wants to gather from the coconut tree successfully. I wonder if Lionclaw's noticed? I mean, he's already gotten an earful from Starfruit about his own ocean adventures, so he knows better than to send Foxtail to her mother. Maybe he would just very quietly point out that they have all of those water-breathing fruits way down in the ocean. I don't know, maybe that would be a good way for her to prove herself, just like she always wanted to. She might not be excellent at swimming either, but I feel like she just wants to prove that she can be just as helpful as her little sister. And then meanwhile, we have Heart back here, who despite having his second gem, seems kind of lazy to me in all honesty. He hasn't really jumped in to do anything of importance, and in fact I feel like he's much happier just to laze on these shores and watch his sisters do all the work. Maybe he'll pick up some shells if they do wash up to the shores, but he's certainly not going to go out of his way. Now I think we're just down to Flytrap again. The poor thing. He still doesn't want to consider the idea that he might be close to the end. So I think he would very stubbornly grab up his berries and try to go charging off into the grasses. but he'll find pretty quickly that he can't make it more than a few steps. So that will give Sunstone enough time to swoop into his side, to maybe pick up some of the grass in the area, so Flytrap will be more comfortable. And then of course Tanzanite won't be far behind. We'll settle him down right next to Flytrap's side. Oh my gosh, and they have a mole over here too. I forgot about this thing. Oh, it's super close. It's too bad that Tanzanite can't grab it for him. That would have been a pretty excellent last meal. But I'm sure that Flytrap understands. I guess with a big sigh, he would admit that maybe he did enjoy having Tanzanite around after all. He knows he's not immortal. As much as he would love to pretend that his adventures could last forever, someday they do have to come to an end. So I think if nothing else, he's very glad to have his closest friend by his side. He never did get the chance to start a family after all, and I think that's kind of how he wanted it. So Tanzanite is kind of like the closest thing that he ever would have had to a son. I'm glad that they had that chance to spend that time together. Now, all Sunstone can do is find a proper place to bury Flytrap. Oh, and they have a root right behind them? Well, there is nothing more fitting than that. And in fact, I think Sunstone is going to ask if Tanzanite wants to do the honors. He's buried plenty of our tribe mates in the past anyways, so I feel like this is really his time. This is a job for no one else. So Flytrap's remains will be buried in the wild unknown, in uncharted territory where our tribe has never been before. But in the next episode, I'm hoping that Sila is going to make her way over to the rest of the tribe so we can start figuring out who's going to go with us to these swamplands. Hopefully her little bearYena baby is still right next to her. Oh my gosh, how precious. Yeah, I think you may have found a brand new friend. He doesn't look like he's leaving your side anytime soon. So I hope you'll be able to put those nimble fingers to good use, because he's going to need plenty of coconuts if he wants to grow up big and strong. He's not dazed though. That's a good sign. It looks like no new coconuts have fallen on his head. But every single day you spend under their little one is bringing you closer and closer to disaster. Honestly, we might need to have somebody help guide them toward the tribe. Maybe that would even be Kiernuro. Maybe he's had a little bit of a change in heart. Like he might be jealous of his sister, but he doesn't want to see her disappear out here. Maybe he's wondering where she ran off to. He did leave her in the midst of that bearYena attack after all, so he's probably a little bit concerned that she may have succumbed to those foes. And we can't forget about our next baby in the nest. The only one of Dewdrop's children to be born without the claw. Oh, and he has the most gorgeous blue eyes too. I think he's the only one of his siblings with the blue eyes as well, right? Yeah, everybody else has either purple or brown. Ah, so he's quite connected to the water. That's good to see. Unfortunately, yet again, just like his big brother, he doesn't have the tail fin in his genetics. But at least he does have the water body, so he should be able to go sailing around with the rest of them. Maybe he'd be more likely to stay home too. Maybe he's a little bit more timid with his lack of claws. So I think to honor his relation to the water, we'll call this little baby Sea Song. He might not be looking for mischievous adventures with his older siblings, but he'll carry on the new mermaid's ways all the same. So in the next episode, hopefully we'll be introducing our brand new baby bearYena to the rest of the tribe. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!